Hello, everyone. Oh, this is incredible. I must say, we have an 1800 free-for-all game. This is incredible. Only 5 spectators right now. Maybe I should get an announcement together. If I got an announcement together, this would make everything interesting. By the way, if the bishop takes the queen, then the rook would take the queen. So blue has time to move his king out of the way. The queen cannot go here because of that. And now the rook would likely take the queen here, but now the bishop could take back, and there's a pin. So rook now has one of his kingside pawns taken, so rook is not exactly safe here. The player at a very strong advantage is green, and the player that is most likely to be eliminated first is A1T19. I didn't get here in time to see the first part of the game. I guess we could run through it. Rook's opening was with the rook pawn. That's funny. Everyone else did too. And we see some standard stuff going on so far. Very interesting placement of the knights here by fifth something. All of these guys here. Oh, and then this is a very interesting move right here. Fifth something knows his opposite and was willing to, give up his bishop if necessary to just start an attack on blue, and that's good for both rook and for fifth something. But no, we see as the game progresses, there's more, more attacks on blue, and we're already at move 26. Red now has 2 queens, and blue is very, very, very wide open. I mean, at this point, I think blue's even in Zugzwang pretty soon. He'll have to push his pawn up here at some point. There's really not much he could do to save his game. I think rook 6-4-3-1 is about to take that pawn. Targeting this pawn and this knight, but he has to get his other queen involved too, which, yeah, and I did say that the blue would have to I mean, the red queen is coming here to deliver a check, and I guess you just move your king in the corner then, but even then, the bishop is going to go here. I think the knight's guarding that square too. So is A1T19, yeah, has he blundered this game? It is kind of subjective to say that he's blundered, but positionally he has definitely weakened himself. It'd be subjective to say that the blunder was that he got himself double checked by yellow and red. It's just a matter of them knowing each other. Yes, opposites do target their sides more easily than they do their opposites, so I think that is what caused influence on the game. We still see a very it's a less slow game than we normally see it. Yeah, and I mean, with exposed king, you don't want to get your queen in the middle. But this is an unusually fast game here. We're not going to see a whole lot of 1800 rated games here. I wonder if A1's purpose, if this was specifically A1 who set his matchmaker to 1800 plus, because we don't usually see something like this. And now he just has to give up his pawn to, I guess, the yellow checks here, and there's mate. A1 is dead, so the only thing you can hope now is for jbolea to lose and I think jbolea now rook is actually moving into advantage here. Is we now have a rook 6-4-3-1. I think is probably probably at the advantage here. But you never know. jbolea might still have some good chances here, and yellow could also be sneaking in there. You never know. Yellow still has 7 pawns. Right now he's trying to shuffle his pieces as green and red joust at each other. But here is rook. He is advancing one of his two of his queenside pawns. You could take here with one of them, but I think, yeah, there's two attackers on that pawn. Never mind. Really, the question is, how do you push your queenside pawns? You got to push them both together. And now, if this something looks like he's got a little pawn push of his own, that pawn's correct. Now you can take this dead piece if you want. Now open out the dark square diagonal. And his king is sitting pretty comfortable here, although this square is weak and this square is weak. So if there's any attack from either player, then he's not going to be safe. Now, yeah, the safest king probably. Oh, yeah, the rook here. Oh, interesting. So once the red queen moves out of the way, I think, oh yeah, the knight is still guarding that queen square. So he moves his queen here to defend the back pawn. And right now, I think this something cannot really do anything but shuffle his pieces, which is standard when you see two players attack each other. And it is definitely the best thing he could do right now, given his score is not too far off from winning if he delivers a checkmate. And if jbolea is the weaker player between the two, then as soon as jbolea exchanges pieces off with rook, yellow would have to accumulate some points too, but yellow would still have some chances here. However, I think this pawn push right here is making a very interesting decision by fifth something to just promote to make a queen. If rook does trade, then he loses a knight, which is kind of standard, but also makes him have one less knight. And he's got all of his pieces around his king. Queen here guards his queenside pawn, so you can maybe move him forward. And now that the rook has gone back, I think we're going to start seeing some pushes. Here goes green. He's making a push of his own. And I think he's going to make a queen now. What yellow wants is for them to make queens, but then trade with each other, and hopefully have equal materials so that if something could just get away with triangulating his king. And if they trade queens, then red will be at a slight advantage, but jbolea still has 5 pawns left behind. Yeah, they're trading queens. This is something that yellow wants. One thing to note, we still have an open file for semi-open file for green. We have a pawn push coming. We have a march towards promotion here. But now both the queen and the rook are guarding that square. This something is going to shuffle and hope for the best. He doesn't have to worry about getting last, as A1T19 has already accomplished that. Though jbolea still, if for some reason he gets himself checkmated, could be less. And now the queen can move out here to threaten the checkmate on the square. Sure, jbolea will see that, but if there was some sort of way of stabbing jbolea while he's under the mate threat, yeah, it may not be very easy for red, but I think red has the advantage here. Red does have to look out for smothered mates on J3 or J2 in the future. But there's hardly any way that the knight can get there. And if this square is undefended, say the knight goes here to here and it's not defended, then there's a smothered mate there as well. But I don't see any smothered mates happening. Red is now free to square for his king to move if that happens. Red has 2 queens defending this pawn. Yellow's pieces are very well defending each other, as the coordination is great between them. Defending the bases of the pawns, which are doing that. It's defending the knight, it's defending the rook, defending that pawn, which is defending that pawn. And the king is not going to be attacked anytime soon. So I think what red wants to do now is maybe go back and hit. No, you don't want to do that because the bishop will go here and skewer. You have to prevent any skewers along this diagonal, so careful. The rook could have gone here too, but it's also attacking the knight, and the queen's going to defend that knight. You really don't want to move your knight out of place, as you're allowed to go here and sometime in the future there. But yellow doesn't really need to do anything to try for a win. I think he has to shuffle and hope for the best. And there's not much progress that red and green can make by themselves either. So we're gonna naturally see some attacks between green and red. And if there is a 3-fold repetition, keep that in mind, then red has the highest score and could be the one that wins here. Yeah, we have a rook attacking a queen, and it's defended by the pawn. If green and red make no progress, then there is a chance that there's going to be a 3-fold repetition here. And we're just going to see a win by rook 6-4-3-1. Now rook has to move his rook or queen out of the way of that potential skewer on this diagonal. Can we see some sort of rook move here that would attack the rook and create some second threat at the same time? Maybe, yeah, this rook here attacking the knights. Oh, yes. Missed that. I think you have to move the... You can't even defend here with the... Now the rook goes here. And if that occurs, then rook taking here would result in queen taking, which defends that rook. No, better move was rook takes knight, I'm pretty sure. Oh, but then the queen takes the rook back, and if the rook takes the queen, then the rook takes the queen with check, and that's actually mate. If we saw this variation, take, 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 that would have been checkmate right there, and the queen, the 1 point queen would have given itself up for that. So now we're just defending here what occurred since I did the analysis. Take, take, take. This is a threat now. Red has to go here. Not so easy for red. Now you're just getting, the green's just getting his rook here and taking one of the queens. Green's looking pretty good now. Red has to give up a queen, and yellow sees it. I don't think that the rook here would be very opportune for green, but maybe yellow decides to go rook to h7. That would be quite interesting. What if green decides to take here? Well, then I think green can still take here. I don't think you want to put your rook out there just yet. If you're yellow, I think you still want to shuffle. So let him trade off. The material is now queens, knight, knights, rook versus two bishops. So you got two bishops and a pawn for a rook. Green is now at a stable advantage here. But now, spectator chat is saying that yellow could win here. We have yellow is going to make a move at some point. If red doesn't resign to any green's checks, then yellow has a chance. Now his knight is under attack. He has to move his rook up to defend, or his knight out to attack the bishop and defend his knight that way. Yellow needs some points here, and he needs to make some moves that will. He probably goes into. I mean, he can't go into red's camp, I don't think. I think he has to go into greens. And there goes a pawn of greens. It is now a rook, a knight, and a queen versus a knight, two bishops, and a queen. If we're looking at green versus red. Well, yellow now has 6 pawns, and green and yellow could just still move his king around in a triangle, and I don't think it really matters what yellow does until there's a critical point in the game, and I think red has to look out now. There's a skewer going on from the bishop to the rook to the knight. Now you can attack the green queen, and then possibly move, but the queen will stay along this file. The green queen will now keep itself attacking I2. Very interesting move by yellow, and now that bishop is hanging. That bishop is hanging, which is quite a big deal. Now the bishop could just take the bishop. Oh my goodness. What a move. The bishop there was very opportune. I missed that. The queen was under attack, so the bishop came and attacked the bishop, which was defended by the king, the rook, and the knights. That was incredible. What a move. What a very opportune move by yellow.